ensure stable employment and upward mobility, to identify and encourage participation in work skills and training programs, and to enhance self-esteem and foster empowerment. That second bullet is really where the digital equity comes in, because we are always talking to clients about skill gaps and what they need in order to succeed, and digital skills is one of the more prevalent ones. So we generally serve populations that are falling under 150% of the federal poverty level. We specialize in supporting foreign-born individuals, those who have experienced domestic violence, and people who are experiencing homelessness. We partner with about 120 organizations and government agencies within Montgomery County and surrounding counties. Last year in 2024, we served about 1,020 individuals across our training programs and coaching programs. And our core objective is to empower individuals to transition out of poverty through our personalized counseling and training programs. So just a quick demographic: about 76% of the women we serve, of the clients we serve, are women, which, given that women tend to fall into poverty levels of income more prevalently than men, is not surprising. The majority of our clients are aged 18 to 39, but we serve people at all ends of the bell curve. About 45% tend to be foreign-born, 85% are BIPOC, and right now, about 70% come from the zip codes within Montgomery County that are identified as being most in need of services. So addressing digital barriers, as mentioned earlier, digital literacy is really a significant employment barrier. And since our inception, we've realized that, right? We see it when a client comes in and can't even create their own resume because they maybe don't have a computer, or they don't have access to the skills to write their resume. So even before the Montgomery Connects program, which was incredible, we always would meet with clients and try to teach them how to use a computer. If they didn't have a computer, we helped them find a computer. We had connections with, I don't know if you all remember, Reboot Computers was a big source of low-cost computers. So they were refurbished for clients. Then there was Phoenix Computers. Then we also found some other nonprofit. One is KindWorks, that helps clients get refurbished computers. We would get donations in order to provide the computers to clients. And then when COVID hit and our clients could no longer meet with us in person, it was devastating to a lot of them, because they did not have the skills needed for us to conduct virtual meetings. So we had to teach them sort of one at a time. You know, you'd have a client who had a smartphone, but didn't really know how they could use that to do a Zoom meeting, for example, and we would help them with that. When the Montgomery Connects program came out and Chromebooks were made available, we pushed that with our clients so that they could attend our workshops. Starting in 2020, we had two workshops a week, one to build workplace skills and the other for empowerment. And those became totally virtual in 2020. And so the imperative was even greater for us to make sure that our clients knew how to use a laptop, a smartphone, whatever device they might have. And if you remember, early parts of COVID, libraries were even closed. So the one source that they had previously to get access to a computer was also closed off. So we really had to work twice as hard to make sure that all of our clients had the tools they needed to be able to participate both in the one-on-one sessions and in our workshops. So we focused a lot on digital skill building at that point. We do one-on-one tutoring with clients who really are unable to use the computer. We also have classes for those that are a little more advanced so that they can, do a virtual class with us. One of our volunteers who does a number of our virtual classes made it hybrid when we could go back to being in person. So clients would attend the workshop, and then she'd have a session where they could come in person, because a lot of people, as you know, need that, need someone right there looking at the computer with them and showing them what to do. We run a lot of financial wellness sessions, and M&T and Truist Banks provide us with those. And then we do a lot of business and interviewing skills. So, the basic classes cover, Microsoft Office, Google Docs, how do you fill out a job application, and different skills like that are part of our group training. The other thing we realized was that most of our clients lacked social networks, if you will, or business networks. And so by having in 2020, by transferring all of our workshops to virtual, we found that employers were actually also more interested in participating with us. First of all, they were in desperate need of employees in the early years of COVID. And secondly, it made it easy for them to come and present. So they would come and present on career advancement within their organization, or they would come and have a job fair online. So again, it was, important that we were helping our clients with that technology so that they could participate in those sessions. And that really is sort of a quick summary of what we do. I just want to mention that our clients, for the most part, have taken to the technology. They're willing to do it. They want to do it. They just never had the opportunity before to really be able to participate fully, because they weren't able to do that. I know this was really quick and maybe you needed a little more, but one of the other interesting facts was before COVID, we would have a weekly workshop that we would maybe get 4 or 5 individuals to come to when it was in person. Then COVID hit. Of course, people were looking for things to do. We were encouraging getting training while they were unemployed. And we started having, each workshop would have 20 people attend or more, once we were able to show people how to use the technology to really participate. And so we've kept that virtual format, because for clients who don't have daycare, or don't have transportation, or have a million other things that they're required to do in order to maintain their housing, having a virtual session is so much easier for them to attend and get to than having to come in person. But of course, then they need the digital skills to do that. But I think we served something like 1,200 clients digitally, when in a given year we might have done 40 or 50 when we were doing them in person. So it really was an exponential growth in the number of people attending our workshops. So does anyone have any questions? We're looking for partnerships in the community to help us with the training, with any other aspects of this. Our career coaches are all attending the digital navigator training so that they can be more effective when they're working with our clients. But any kinds of resources in that regard. And of course, there's always more people who need help even than the ones we find, right? So I'm sure there are ways to refer people to us who could use a combination of digital training and career coaching.
Like Sam has his hand up.
Yes, good afternoon. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing the presentation there. My question was in terms of how did you make sure that those, the persons that were connecting virtually, in terms of the training and teaching, had configurations that were commensurate enough to be the training to be uniform across the across the board there. So if you were teaching something, someone had the appropriate version of the software, or had the requisite software on the machines,
Right.
things like that. So how was that?
How do we do that? Yeah.
How did you manage that part? Because in doing
So,
training, I know that's a big issue at times.
Yeah, it's a huge issue, and I thank you for the question. all of our training is done on a Zoom platform, okay? So that's the first step, making sure people understand how to use Zoom, how to share documents in Zoom, and that kind of thing. Then the different classes are usually offered, let's say we're doing a Word class, okay? So that's an issue because not everyone has Word on their computer or their device, right? So
Yeah.
as the coaches sign up clients, we have to make sure that the clients who are signed up for those workshops have access to a version of Word or Excel or whatever it's going to be that's going to be compatible with what the teacher is training. So we do have a lot of interaction with anyone who participates in our workshops. So even though they're virtual and, you know, people sign up virtually to come to them, there still is a person who calls the person who signed up and ensures that they have what they need in order to be successful. Now, sometimes a client will say, well, I really want to just do it on my phone and I just want to listen. And so there are people who are participating who aren't really able to do the interactive piece of it. But you know, that to us is better than not doing it at all, right? To at least be able to be exposed to it. So there is a lot of behind the scenes work that's going on. We have someone whose job it is solely to set up these workshops, to contact the clients who are going to attend the workshops, and she participates in each workshop. So she's there to answer questions real time if clients are struggling with following along or getting on. So there's a lot, even though it's technically a workshop, there's really a lot of one-on-one that's going on with both the instructor and this volunteer coordinator, we call her, and to help the clients make sure they're getting the most out of the workshops.
Okay, so they help them navigate around. So if I were a client and I was saying, hey, I'm not getting that same thing on my screen, that person would intervene.
Be troubleshooting real time with her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And also just related to that too, were there any resources that you all advised where people who didn't have the equipment would be able to source or get a laptop or something at a
that's a really tricky one. There's Phoenix Computers, which I don't know if they're just in Montgomery County, but they have very low cost options for people.
Mhm.
And then we also partnered with a relatively small nonprofit called KindWorks, and they will, you know, we try to find donations for them as well. Let's say we know a company is getting ready to donate some laptops. We'll have them donate them to KindWorks, who then has a group of, you know, professionals who make sure that they're working correctly, and then we distribute them directly to our clients. We pick it up from KindWorks and take it to the client. So those are the two sources that we use. Of course, when that Montgomery Connects program was in existence, it was fabulous because we just referred people right to that program to get a Chromebook.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much and keep up the good work now.
Thank you.
And we might talk a little bit later because that's part of what I do in the Virginia side here. So
okay, excellent. That would be great.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll just plug our Marylanders Online resources as well. We do have two different categories. We have Give Help and Get Help. So if you want more of a self-learning, you would go to the Get Help resources. And then if you're trying, you know, Give Help is more for a navigator or program person who's trying to troubleshoot or provide skills for that. Hello, Cheryl.
That's Maryland Online.
Yeah, Marylanders Online.
I'm sorry, I it blanked out. Maryland what online?
Marylanders Online.
Marylanders Online. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So there's a lot of good. I was going to ask that question too, Mana, in terms of curricula, how you develop your resources, and if you know, like just something around that.
Yeah. So currently for the workshops, I guess there's two kinds of training I would categorize that we do. One is that our individual coaches, when they're working with a client who clearly is struggling, they walk them through the things they need, like, you know, to do a job application. This is what you should do. You should have your resume ready here. You should do the, you know, so they would walk through those specific steps with a specific client one-on-one. for the workshops that we offer on the various programs like Microsoft or the Google Suite or any of those things, we actually have community volunteers who that's what they do for their profession, right? So they come with their own training, and they often will adjust it to what the clients tell them in the first session. Or, so if they have a group of clients who really are struggling with, let's say, even figuring out how to manage their documents on their computer, then she would focus on that as part of that class. But they have a core curriculum. She has a core curriculum that she teaches. So we've been lucky to get some really good community volunteers who offer to do our workshops for us. And we vet, what their background is and what they're doing.
I could talk about this all day. What about how do you get those volunteers? Like, what is your outreach?
I know. So here you go. That's a very good question. So we have a number of different sources. First of all, myself and board members, we mostly, I grew up in the area, so I have a wide network of friends and acquaintances and business partners who I go to directly. But we also use the Montgomery County Volunteer Center. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's sort of like what you talked about, Marylanders. But people post what they're interested in volunteering, and you post your needs for a volunteer. So we always are putting up there that we need people to teach our skills classes. And then we post it on our website, and we're pretty, our website tends to be updated regularly, so we keep it up to date. It's not like a website you'll say, oh, they haven't updated this since 2010. We do keep it pretty updated, and we list our the way somebody can volunteer with us on our website. Every week we put out a weekly, we call it our community job opportunities and community resources. And it's updated every week. It goes out to 5,000 names on our mailing list, and that gets distributed. I mean, I can't tell you how many people have told me they've seen that because somebody forwarded it to them, who forwarded it to them, who forwarded it to them. And there we also make a call for volunteers and talk about the programs we have. So we've gotten a lot of good volunteers through those three sources, really. Any other questions?
Just one other quick one, if I could ask again, if nobody else has, in terms of your monitoring the different workforce, I guess I would say workforce development, digital literacy organizations, do you either connect with or keep up with some of the ones that are going on in other parts of the country? Is there any way that you network?
That's a great question, and I'll have to say the answer is not systematically. So if something comes across my desk, I will, pursue it, and there have been some things like that, but we're hoping to be part of that Montgomery County, I don't know, award, maybe award. We're part of that. Our program is part of that award that I don't know where the funding stands. And if we were to get that, then we could really put more resources towards this, right?
Yeah.
From now, it's really just been our career coaches taking this on as another piece of their work. And we don't have anyone whose focus is just digital literacy. And so, like anything, you kind of figure out where you need the most resources. And so I think if we were to get that grant, and we also are applying for other grants for the same thing. And so my hope is that we will have someone whose focus is just the digital literacy piece as it meshes with workforce development.
Okay, and how large is your group? Is the organization?
Oh, so we have 9 career coaches. We have 2 people who focus just on our data. And then we have the volunteer coordinator I spoke about who, makes sure that people attend our workshops and have the proper equipment and whatever else they need for that. And then we have about 3 other, so we're about 1.4 million, and we have probably 15 to 20, depending on whether you count our our contract workers and our paid employees.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing.
Yes, thank you for your questions.
Fantastic. I can just quickly speak to, the statewide reach that we're trying to make and network with. And then, I personally do follow the National Digital Inclusion Alliance, which is a very good opportunity. I was the state digital equity coordinator in Utah, so I've been working on the Digital Equity Act for about 3 years now. So there are, if there's always more that we can all do, right? But those might be some resources if you're looking for connections nationally to the work. So, and we do try to share that as well. And you can always join MDEC, and we have a listserv and things like that. Our listserv happens to be hosted on the same platform as the National Digital Inclusion Alliance and the Baltimore Digital Equity Coalition. So if you have those three, you'll see all the messages and correspondence that goes on for those groups. So that's kind of convenient as well. Okay, do we have any more questions for Mana? No. Let's see, we have a question from Isaias asking to share the asset mapping form. And I think Julie can throw that in the chat if we get a second. Sorry. Let me get to my share screen. You ready?
Yeah, give me just 1 second. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. You're good. But the asset mapping, we are working on mapping all the digital inclusion programs in and opportunities and classes and all those fun things. Our call center team is working very hard, and we're partnering with the Office of IT, Do It, the Maryland Department of IT, I guess is what it's called. So we have a form, you can list your programs in there and they will show up. So that's a thing that's coming out shortly within the next couple months, hopefully. So the big goal today is to really talk about our challenges and opportunities related to digital skill building in our programs. And we have a couple questions. We don't have to necessarily do them in order, but here are the questions that I have for this conversation. Where are digital skills most urgently needed? We really want to get your insights of what you're seeing with folks who are directly serving Marylanders and beyond. How are current systems succeeding or falling short? Like what, kind of policies, what systems do we need to help this work move along? And lastly, what would effective cross-sector collaboration look like for you and your programs? So I'm hoping to have a robust conversation. We have a lot of people here. If anybody wants to tackle one of those questions or any other topic that relates to, our shared challenges and opportunities around digital skill building, we would love to hear from you right now. And I can do uncomfortable silence for a really long time, so.
Hi, my name is Polo Valdovinos. I work at the West Contra Costa adult system within the general public school system. And I think for us, one of the biggest challenge and opportunity is to really go more into bringing in these skills around some sort of real world learning, real project-based learning. Here in California, we have new laws that make it easier for people to sell home-based food home-based food businesses. So designing programming around that objective of starting a home-based food business and then bringing in digital skills so that all those steps are applied is the thing we're trying to figure out how to do. So that's our challenge.
I like the point. It's not just skill building programs, right? Every program needs digital skill building at a certain level. a great program. Rachel, you have your hand up?
Something that I've seen a lot of people struggle, and I guess I should say rather more caregivers of school-aged youth, is them not having either the resources to utilize or just not having the knowledge or both to navigate like a school's like online system, being able to check grades, being able to check attendance, being able to like get updates from their teachers. They're just either completely lost or like they don't even have access to it.
Yeah. It's a big gap. So like, are you talking about like, oh gosh, I can't think of the name of them right now, but even like Canvas and those kinds of things, or whatever the online student communication platform is for students and parents, I guess. We see that quite a bit. And I think, some schools have, some tech support around that. But that's a really good insight. We try to develop resources around, common issues that our clients and our digital navigators face with our clients. So, we have like e-government resources, how to, make an appointment online to get your driver's license and those kinds of things. So the school ones would be, Canvas, and the school monitoring and communication platforms would be a really good addition to that. What about current systems? Like, anybody have, a success story they want to share besides Manas?
I guess I can share one. This is Abby Colley. I work for an organization in Lincoln, Nebraska, and we primarily serve immigrants and refugees, all adults, and we have a digital literacy program. We have a lot of adults who want to get back into, maybe they were healthcare certified in their home countries, not able to get back into the workforce here just because of our requirements, and so they have to go back to school first. And I guess kind of building off those school systems issues, the kind of the first step is being able to type well so that you can not only just learn the vocabulary, but that you can write essays that are required of you to participate in class, to get that degree again, to get back into the workforce. And so we just have, outside of our kind of basic computer skills class, just an hour a week set aside for anyone to come in and practice typing. And we found that to be hugely successful. Not only does practicing typing get their typing and computer skills better, but we're noticing it's also helping their English skills develop faster.
Fantastic. I love it.
Kind of a lot there, but it's been really fun to see just how spending time in front of the computer is helping on more than just a digital literacy aspect.
Right. And it's probably low stakes, right? Like if you're trying to, oh, I'm learning this program, or I need to learn how to do this thing. And it's really, am I going to remember these things, where typing is like, okay, I'm going to practice typing. And so there's probably less anxiety around that, I would guess. I think we see a lot of anxiety in digital immigrants and folks who haven't had a lot of computer experience. Samuel?
Yes, I was going to say, I've seen some of it in the those who are transitioning from one type of job to another. Sometimes that they are asking for skills there. I know when I was doing some training in DC, we saw a number of people who were coming from one job and looking to enter into another field, but they didn't have the comfort level with the computer itself, and so they were trying to get something that would help them be strengthened in that area. And also, I saw some of the some entrepreneurs are, for example, hairstylists, barbershop people, truck drivers. They were trying to get skills too, because they were increasingly having to know just how to complete forms or things online. and there was nothing that it had that, it taught them formally how to do it. So I've done some workshops and helping to address those communities there through nonprofit organizations. So it would be a group of people who may be, photographers and freelance kind of entrepreneurs who just had not had the experience of sitting down in a class and learning how to use between their cell phones and their laptops, how to keep up with clients, keep up with inventory, those kinds of things there. So that was a need that I saw the digital skills were kind of critical. Once they learn how, I could keep a list of my clients easily on this mechanism, it made a big difference for them to see how to follow up. And even things like how to set reminders, using the technology. So those kind of handy things that people just hadn't had a chance to find out about on their, whether it's on the cell phone or the laptop.
Awesome. We have time for a few more insights. We'd love to hear from everyone. Let's talk about like cross-sector collaboration. There, we know that we can provide digital training, digital skills. We know it crosses across, health and education and access to civic life, access to each other. Anybody have like really cool examples or ideas of what cross-sector collaboration could look like for us?
Hi, Cheryl Harrison Jackson from the Housing Authority of Baltimore City.
Hi, Cheryl.
Hi, so we actually worked closely with University of Maryland. We tapped into our partnerships with University of Maryland, Empower, and BSIT team, Baltimore City Information Technology team, which was great. And we worked together heavily for a period of about 9 months. Once the city received the library received those Chromebooks, the city received all of those Chromebooks. We built a great partnership and we developed a pilot plan of how to roll those out to all of the Housing Authority of Baltimore City public housing residents. And they were at the table with us at a lot of those events. And we had hiccups in the beginning because it was a learning curve. But then once we were able to master the plan of how it was supposed to go, we ended up giving away over 2,500 devices to our population of Housing Authority of Baltimore City. It's a small number in theory. However, we only tapped into our public housing. We did not do our Section 8. And at the time, we had about 6,000 households in public housing. So our 2,500 was a really good number for us. And so I was grateful for that partnership and reaching out and engaging. And in addition, we also helped them when they had events that they needed us to come and provide support. We did that. So it was a cross-training experience as well as helping us to reach goals that we needed to reach.
That's a great example. Lynn, I see that you have your hand up.
Hey, yeah, we're actually working with career catchers at the moment. So I'm the executive director of Action Youth Media, and we teach middle and high school students media arts kind of as a way to get them engaged in the community. But we also have a workforce development program where we're training high school students and those who have recently graduated these skill sets as a way to break into the creative economy if they want to. But what we found, and one of the reasons we're working with career catchers is that just because you don't want to go into communications or media doesn't mean that working with this equipment doesn't hit all of the needs that you get for the digital skills. So part of our program, while it seems like it's about making video, it's actually about how to present yourself and represent your company, how to handle interviews, how to manage various types of software online. And so we're expanding, at the moment, we've been doing a podcast with career catchers, but we're about to start expanding even more because we have a computer center that sits empty while kids are at school because we don't teach them while they're at school. So we're trying to see what we can do to, reach out and offer some of the services that might be helpful for organizations like this.
That's great.
Yeah,
My daughter
mentioned
goes
that.
to your program. Sorry, go ahead,
I
Cheryl.
just wanted to say that Lynn and her organization are great, and we love the collaboration.
Yeah, so it's really good. Awesome. Sam, you have a comment? Samuel, I should say, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just had lowered my hand. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. No problem. All right. Any more comments, questions?
Hey, Cheryl. Hey. Hi. We be back.
I love it. Okay. All right. So we're going to continue, I guess, to move forward here. We do know that there's this digital equity grant coming through, the capacity grants from the Office of Statewide Broadband. I would pay attention to that, reach out to communities. We'll continue to bring folks together to talk about these issues and develop partnerships. If there's suggestions for things that we can do as MDEC to help fill in the gaps of your program or help connect you to partners or help with training and curricula and all those things, we would like to do that. We've got a great working group of people who are, really focused on building this ecosystem across the state, not just in their areas or their programs, because we know it's going to have to be collaborative in order for us to be successful. So, I can't say it enough, in not just around the grant opportunities specifically from OSB, but we're developing programs holistically throughout the state. So, and beyond that, we have some national partners as well. One program I wanted to mention, Mana, that I think is really cool was the Utah State University Remote Online Initiative or Remote Working Initiative, which helps rural folks. They basically created a certificate program, a training program specifically for remote work so that the participants could develop the skills they needed to work remotely and then also be able to demonstrate those skills on their jobs, their resumes and applications and things like that. So that's a really great program. However, there was a particular, gap in people who didn't even have the basic skills to be able to participate in that program. So, there's always a level. I think everyone needs skill building and development at lots of different levels. And I love that we can start with I've never turned on a computer, or I want to learn advanced, Excel or change careers and that kind of thing. So it's just important to remember that it spans a wide spectrum of need across our programs. But so on the agenda document, there is the link to the webinar for the Office of Statewide Broadband and that program that's going to be coming out hopefully very soon. There's also a link to join the Maryland Digital Equity Coalition. We have kind of 3 levels of participation. We have, the general membership, which gets all of our invitations to webinars and things like this, all of our communications. We'll reach out and ask questions to folks, that kind of thing. We do have a working group that sort of is, leading the efforts. This is a very collaborative effort. And that's got about 15 people on it or so, and we'd love to have more. And we meet monthly to, talk about need and come up with programs such as this to help bring people together. And then we do have subcommittees as well. So we have a policy/legislative subcommittee. We have a communications subcommittee. We have our Digital Equity Summit planning group. And it looks like we'll probably get to an evaluation kind of shared metrics subcommittee as well. And we will also be having some webinars on that in the future if we can help folks, measure the impact of their program, have good data to use for their applications and things like that. So I hope that's helpful. The last thing I wanted to talk about today quickly was the funding sources themselves, right? Like I've been trying to pull together a list of potential grant opportunities. It's here. I'll click on this link and see if it's going to show it. I don't know. Bing. There we go. So again, this is a crowdsourced thing. I would always verify that you're eligible for funding or that these programs are still existing. But we do have access to make comments in this. So if you have programs that are at a local level or city level or national level and ideas, that would be really helpful. This is linked in your document so you can have access to this. This is what I was able to pull together so far. And everything's not fully verified, but I think it looks pretty good. I spent some time on it today. So there's various programs here. You can see the State Equity Capacity Grant Program is listed here. We have regional opportunities, the Baltimore Digital Equity Fund, Anne Arundel County, Prince George's Community Development Grants. There's rural specific opportunities through the Rural Maryland Council and some of their deadlines listed here. So that's what I have so far, but everyone's welcome to participate and help crowdsource this list of funding opportunities. We know that collaboration and working together is going to be better than everyone working in silos and trying to do their own thing without a lot of help. So I mean, there's so many good programs like MANAs that have been around for a while. There is good digital inclusion work happening, and it has been happening for some time. Sometimes when big funding opportunities like the Digital Equity Act come, all of a sudden everybody becomes a digital inclusion program. So I think, our goal is to just keep people connected and working and have the resources that you need to be successful. So with that, I want to open it up again. Any questions, comments, anything you might want to share from your organization? And Julie might have some updates. I don't want to put her on the spot, but our next webinar is coming up. I believe she's put those things in the chat, but we have about 3 minutes where we can wrap up. And we're welcome to stay on and talk and answer any questions after either. I just don't want to keep people past their time. I know you guys have stuff to say. Awesome. Great. Julie put the flyer for the rest of the webinar series in the chat. The next one is, we're doing part 2. We're going to focus on folks with disabilities and folks with accessibility needs around digital skill building and economic development. Thanks, Lynn.
Hey, I'll just say hi, and I'm reading quickly what everybody's writing, and we're all on the same page and doing the good work. And I'm always grateful to be a part of these conversations because I feel that we are all moving in the best we can, and it's really hard. The approach to workforce through digital skills is everything. That is the culmination of my work. 17 years in a library. This is where I stand today, that digital skills is the foundation for everything. And it's hard to find people, volunteers. Terry, that was Mana, I think, who has that great volunteer network. We in my community don't have as great of a network, but I am working on it in our operational plan currently. Like yesterday, I turned that plan in, and we'll be reaching out to my network as well as businesses and however else. I have also implemented some programming for digital skills and workforce and highlighting them in our summer fun, which is always the big highlight of the year. And I actually very intentionally decided to use summer fun as a platform to get, raise awareness. And so maybe some of our standard ESL or drop in for computer help, I'm really going to be mindful in using the summer fun platform to really lift it up. And that's all. I could stay on the phone for 24 hours with you all and talk this business, but that's where I am right now in New Orleans.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. And thank you to all librarians, especially right now. Just, this work in digital navigation was rooted in libraries and continues to be the most obvious touch point in place to do that. So any way that we can support libraries, we'll do that. And I'm just really happy, personally to be, the program manager of this digital navigation program, which was started, the first program was started in the Salt Lake City Public Library with a grant from IMLS with a colleague of mine. I came from Salt Lake City. So to see this, grow and then be able to step into this amazing program that's already built and just continue to learn and see the robust work that people are doing. It's mind-blowing, and we can never do enough to bring everyone together. So thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Awesome. This was good.
I'll tell you one more thing I'm doing, and I don't know if you all have mobile buses. I see a lot of people on here. We have something called the Louisiana Workforce Bus or Mobile Bus, and they travel around the state for free, and they'll come to any location, and you can be a business, a museum, a library, and we're going to doing that intentionally during the summer, which also because libraries air conditioning often breaks down in the summer, but we're bringing in 4 times in the summer, intentionally scheduling during summer fun, and I'm going to have I'm working with neighborhood associations to bring in seniors to the workforce bus twice during the summer, and having the instructor of the bus show them resources on the bus, but also doing a quick module of computer help at the forefront of it. The digitallearn.org. I don't know if you all are familiar with that. It's through the Public Library Association, and it's a free resource. And yeah, I feel very lucky about that. It feels like renting a bus should cost a lot, but it's free and it's air conditioned, and the big buses have 12 computer seats available, and the smaller bus has 4. So we'll have the smaller bus at a couple of locations, but the big bus in one specific location that is a high need area. And now really that's all I'm saying.
Very inspirational. Thank you very much. Does anybody else have anything they want to share before we close up today?
I just want to add to what Robin said. Montgomery County has one of those too. The workforce,
Nice.
yeah. The mobile bus is what I'm talking about, with the seats and the training. And we do have it go out to some of the shelters we work at so that we have that capability. So it's a great resource.
Nice. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, appreciate you all sharing that, and it's good to hear the bus situation there. So it's if you all have any additional information on it, that would be good to our websites with information about it. Would be interested in seeing that too, and love to stay in touch with the group here, because appreciate you all sharing the information. I think it's helpful for us to stay in contact. I put my information in the chat, so when you have time, it would be good to connect up.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Amazing. I will share one thing that we are just getting ready to launch, which is our Monet digital navigation training and training of trainers. So we
nice.
piloted with Enoch Pratt Library to train librarians, a trainer program. It's a 12 module program. It's very in-depth. It's more in-depth than the digital navigation trainings that I've seen or taken. That is going to be available. We built that through ARPA funds with the College of Information and some curricula development experts. So we're really excited. It's going to be on open learning. There will be certificates and badges and all kinds of fun things. We're going to pilot again with our internal staff shortly within the next few weeks. And then we will be seeking partners all over to be able to share and train folks and multiply as many digital navigators as we possibly can. So that's a good one. Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone.
I forgot to ask too, will there be any access to the recording of today?
Yep, on our website. And Julie does a great job of kind of emailing everyone after the fact. So if you don't see it for some reason, let us know, but you should get it. And we are listing all of the webinars on our website with the recordings.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Awesome. Thanks, Robin. Thanks. Anybody have anything they need or want to talk about? I think we're done. We can wrap it up.
Thank you very much for the time today. It's great being in the meeting.
Yeah, thanks, Mana. Thank you for doing it so short notice. You're my hero.
Have a good day.
Yeah,
I'll be
you
in
too.
touch.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks. Okay, we'll wrap it up. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.